This is what happened when they found out. They got the #1 overall pick. The excitement, the tears, the smiles, big things coming potentially for the Indiana Fever. Again, back-to-back #1 overall picks. Indiana has been building and improving for 2 straight seasons now and found themselves in the playoffs in 2024, thrilling fans along the way. This was in large part due to the presence of young superstar Caitlin Clark, but also because they led one of the biggest turnarounds in the league this past season. The Fever have the brightest young star in basketball and are chasing a new goal. Because of that, Indiana must make moves. They need upgrades if they plan on being a true title contender. But there is a bittersweet nature to becoming a better team. Not all the fan-favorite players will be back next season. However, as other organizations around the league look to pluck branches from your tree in attempts to improve themselves. So here's a look at who will and should be gone before the start of the 2025 campaign. She goes on. Kelsey Mitchell. The Indiana Fever have made it no secret that their top priority in free agency is the 2-time All-Star Kelsey Mitchell. I think me and Toy could kind of speak on like how good you feel to be a part of it. How humbling it is to be a part of. And I think for the next draft coming up, whoever it is, I'm going to definitely be grateful to have them, welcome them with open arms, kind of be that support system or whatever. Kelsey entered the 2024 WNBA season in a contract year, which meant that she was an unrestricted free agent after the season's end. This is because she had no long-term deal locked in with the Fever. The 29-year-old guard has played all 7 seasons of her career in Indiana, but the team is currently in danger of losing her now that she's set to become an unrestricted free agent this off-season. Mitchell has already indicated her desire to remain with the Fever, but she has refused to close the door on a potential free agency exit. Mitchell rose to stardom alongside her running mate in the backcourt, Caitlin Clark, but the former Ohio State Buckeye may want to expand her role once again and be the face of another franchise. Because no matter how you slice it, as long as Clark remains in Indiana, she will continue to be the face of the Fever. Right now, Mitchell is not a restricted free agent, and the Fever cannot retain her by matching another team's offers. They will have to straight up outbid other teams and make a compelling case to keep her as the second fiddle, which may be tough considering all she has given to the franchise. Meanwhile, 2024 looks good on Mitchell's career as she recorded a career high in points per game and field goal percentage. She also had her lowest amount of turnovers per game in her 7 seasons and recorded her second highest rebounding and 3-point percentage outputs. So she has a unique opportunity to build off of the notoriety she earned and become the main catalyst for a WNBA franchise that may need one. Tammy Fagbennel. Similarly, the 604 is a restricted free agent this offseason, and Indiana may prioritize using their cap space elsewhere. This is because she does not stretch the floor or protect the rim, so the Fever will likely look for a superior fit around Clark to use off the bench. After 4 seasons of playing exclusively overseas, she struggled with injuries, but still managed to average 6.4 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 0.7 blocks in 18.9 minutes per game, but it's hard to know how much of a commodity she will be. She played 3 seasons for the Lynx from 2017 to 2019 before joining the Fever this year. Fagbennel will have options and the Fever have the right to match any offer she receives in the WNBA. Expect her to find a new home this offseason as Indiana looks to use their cap space elsewhere. Fagbennel had a bit of a resurgence in 2024 as she did not appear in a WNBA game at any point during the prior 4 seasons. She did, however, play the most minutes per game in her career and as a result had her best statistical outputs across the 5 major categories in her career. But that's okay. With Whites coming in, she could let Fagbennel move and look to sign a player who is a bit more dynamic and has more WNBA experience under her belt. Fagbennel has only played in 91 career games since being drafted in 2016, and Indiana needs experience next to Aaliyah Boston, especially since someone like Kelsey Mitchell leaves. Another player who Indiana could part ways with is the veteran guard Erica Wheeler. The former All-Star is also going to be an unrestricted free agent once the window opens on January 21st. Wheeler was the Fever's second highest paid player in 2024, but averaged the 9th most minutes. The 5'7" guard went from starter in 2023 to backing up Caitlin Clark. This limited her playing time to just 14 minutes per game. Because of that, she averaged 9.9 points, 5.0 assists, 3.0 rebounds, and 1.1 steals in 26.8 minutes per game in 2023 as their starter. This was recorded as her worst statistical output since her 2015 rookie season. Right now, Fever fans have been wanting to know if the rumors about her potential exit are true. But the news comes as not shocking considering the fact that she has been a bit of a traveler in her 10-year WNBA career, so it should not surprise anyone to see her on the move. Once again, the 33-year-old hopes to land significantly more than Indiana is willing to pay. She expects the franchise to move on and use that cap space on a better fit next to their 22-year-old superstar. It is clear that Wheeler is not ready to commit her future with the Fever just yet. Wheeler is coming off the second season of her second stint in Indiana after suiting up for the Fever between 2-0, 1-6, 1-9. The 5'7" guard averaged 3.6 points, 1.4 rebounds, and 1.8 assists in 14.0 minutes per contest. Last season, the 33-year-old could be on the brink of retirement, or she could try to squeeze a year or two more out of her up-and-down career. Another team may want a veteran presence to coach some of the younger players from the side, but the Fever need a veteran impact on the court, especially someone who can bring it on the defensive side of the ball. Wheeler's best days are behind her, and despite her solid contributions a season ago, she could be on the way out this offseason. Hey Lou, can you kind of walk us through your season? Because there's some highs and lows. It felt like there was a changing turning point maybe at that illness, and then you're out a few games, and then minutes started to dip. What kind of happened there and impacted your season? Yeah, I can honestly say this was the toughest season I've ever had as a player, as a person, so many different things. Katie Lou Samuelson. Samuelson was the Fever's third highest paid player despite playing the seventh most minutes per game. The 6'3" wing missed the 2023 season and has struggled bouncing back. She was not a factor in the playoff rotation and averaged just 4.3 points per game on 34.9% shooting from the field. Samuelson will be on a $180,250 expiring contract in 2025. The Fever hoped to find a team willing to take on her contract. She was a star at UConn but has struggled to reach those heights in the WNBA. The 27-year-old should improve in 2025 despite not providing enough defense to be the ideal fit around Clark, Davick, Scribbler. Finding a trade won't be easy, but teams will have room with the expansion Golden State Valkyries joining the league. The Fever should explore the market to maximize their odds of contending. Welcome to Seattle, now ranked number 7 in the country for best places to live in the city. Guidance on how to navigate downtown living comes from Principal Paul doing business and inspiration from his entrepreneurial qualities. Yeah, I feel really good. It's just a load management thing, so I think we have like 11 games in 20 days or something, so I think just a load management thing for me, which is good, and I'm feeling really good and ready to go tonight. Christy Wallace. In a similar fate to Samuelson, Wallace shouldn't return. She went from reserve to starter to out of the rotation this season. The 5'11" guard played a 20-minute per game role for the Fever in 2023 and shined as a floor spacer. You don't see Ionescu get chippy like that slapping the hand away at Christie. She's frustrated. Indiana wanted that shooting next to Clark, but Wallace's defense was problematic. The 28-year-old is set to make $80,823 on an expiring contract in 2025. Does some team view Wallace as a rotation piece? Every franchise wants shooting, and one may gamble she can bounce back in a fresh environment. How hard was it with your role kind of changing a lot throughout the year or two to be the player that you maybe hoped or wanted to be this year? It was really hard because coming in there was a lot of different conversations of how it was going to play out, so just it fluctuating throughout the season, it was a lot of highs and lows. You got James and Chloe? No, Lisa Smith. Smith was primarily a starter, but her production dipped in year 3. The 6'4" forward averaged 15.5 points and 9.2 rebounds in 2023, but her shot attempts were weighed down with Clark in town. McNally Jr. remained a safe haven and resumed taking some threes after the initial downward spiral. The 24-year-old is a bucket, but her lack of shooting and defense makes her a questionable fit. In Indiana, can you kind of elaborate on what you meant by that, and what kind of was different? In your mind? Well, I mean, everybody comes into the season thinking they're gonna have this outstanding, accolade, achievement, season. So, I mean, I feel like I didn't get to do as much as I wanted to do. I didn't get to contribute as much as I wanted to contribute, Smith saw just 9 minutes in. Game 1 of their first-round playoff series. She was demoted to the bench for Game 2 and is clearly not part of the Fever's long-term plans. The Fever took over with a set, and Smith saw partial production from the films. The Fever's number 2 overall pick in 2022 will likely depart the franchise this offseason. Smith will be looking to dominate the Fever at every turn no matter where she lands. Dantas backing in on Dalton. Dantas with a step back. Dantas. Damiris Dantas. The WNBA is virtually resetting in 2026 when the salary cap is expected to rise significantly. The Fever should look to get a jump on the proceedings by dumping their unwanted contracts for strong fits to their roster, says the minister. So, Indiana looks to dump the 31-year-old's expiring contract to further upgrade their roster. Around Caitlin Clark. The 603 forward appears past her peak, but she does offer some floor spacing the Fever desperately need in the front court. Dantas played a key role in the postseason and is not the worst player to keep around, but her defense is problematic, especially on a fast-pacing team. But the Fever want shooting. They look to get younger and more well-rounded players as the franchise attempts to take the next step. Paul Chambers, senior fellow at the Institute for Psychology at the University of Houston, said the Indiana Fever will look different next season. They figure to be significant players in free agency and are eager to build a roster around Caitlin Clark. Expect plenty of moves and stay tuned for all the latest. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and share. I'll be back soon with more from Caitlin Clark. See you in the video. Thanks for watching and subscribe this channel.